All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Those of you that are here physically, and thank you all for coming and viewing the Zoom. Those of you who are viewing us on Zoom. And Cece, thank you too for inviting me to present.
To open the space for this beautiful talk today. Here we go. Okay, microphone.
Oh, I see. The microphone wasn't on.
Yeah. It wasn't too close.
Should I start again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going to start again. So we have a little editing. So welcome. It's very nice to have you here. I'm privileged to have your company.
They're better.
Okay. And Cece, again, thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
So my name is Judith Condon. I am a conscious relationship and Tantra coach. I have been a conscious relationship and Tantra coach since 2017. And we are here this evening to talk a little bit about Tantra and then to experience one of its key practices. So we're going to start out with, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about who I am and see if you don't relate to the fact that perhaps you're a little bit like who I am now and who I was when I was a child as well. So first of all, I'm an American. I'm from Colorado. I'm from Boulder, Colorado. If you know about Boulder, it's known as 7 miles of unreality, surrounded by the rest of the world, because it has a heavy population and a high concentration of people who engage in spiritual learning and practice. So I'm just going to lay this down so that doesn't happen again. I'm not a guru. The information that I'm going to share with you can be found in many places if you're learning about Tantra. That said, the information that I'm going to share with you can be found in sources that are highly reputable and highly dependable. So the first question people ask is, I was going to talk a little bit more about myself. So as a child, and you may have had experiences similar to this, a little child, 2 and 3 and 4 years old, I would have dreams that I didn't understand, that I didn't talk about. And they were strange dreams, and there was ritual involved in these dreams. And as I grew up in my pretty normal American home with 2 sisters and parents who stayed married for 62 years, going to Catholic school, all Catholic school and church, all the way 12 years of education. So a spiritual emphasis in my family. I, at the age of 11 or so, found myself reading Shakti Gawain, Deepak Chopra, and doing yoga all by myself in my room, because there wasn't any yoga around. It was Chicago, Illinois, where there wasn't any yoga around. And as a matter of fact, yoga at that time was considered diabolical. It was considered anti-everything. But I didn't know that. Well, nevertheless, this current has ran through my life all the way through, while I'm doing all the things everybody else does, go to school, wear my saddle shoes, my uniform, come home, be in Girl Scouts, all those kind of things that we do in that kind of American life for kids. When I graduated high school, my goal was to be an art teacher. And what I understood about why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to help people, and of course myself, be fully self-expressed. This was my goal. And so later on, I did become an art teacher and an art therapist and a photography teacher. And I also found myself working with special education what were called emotionally disturbed children, but who in fact, in my estimation, were the high potential rebels who didn't fit in the classroom. So I love them and I treated them that way. And I chose them as my goal. So that's been my mindset, and that's been my manifestation of this same identity that ultimately led me to Tantra. And Tantra is a path, and its practices are a path towards self-realization, self-appreciation, and self-mastery of the power that all of us have within us that emanates initially from our base chakra, from the base chakra at the base of our spine that includes the organs of our body that are the genitals. So as a spiritual practice, because it is a combination of physical and spiritual, it is one that says yes to our sexuality. That does not say that in order to be spiritual, that we can't be sexual. As a matter of fact, we might use the comparison of a rocket ship. So if we have a rocket ship that's sitting on the ground, and it can rise, correct? And there's no fire under it, where's it going? Nowhere. It's going to stay right here. And so it is the fire, the flame, the energy, if you will, of the Holy Spirit. And this, of course, is an American word that lives within us, that lives within our base chakra system. Now, I know that people here are familiar with their chakras, but I want to talk about them a little bit in relation to tantric practice. So if you are already familiar with, when you are already familiar with the chakras, you know that the base chakra, the one at the base of your spine, that includes the organs of your body that are your genitals, is scarlet, is bright red. The one above it, that is our creative and sexual center, and these two blend, is orange. And its element is water. So we have fire and water right here at the base. And then just above it is our third chakra. So these chakras live from the base of our genitals to just about our navel and perhaps above. Now, the majority of people, it can be said, have most of their energies invested in these first three chakras. So what they're concerned with is security, being grounded, perhaps sexuality, and manifesting their will in the world so that they have what they need to survive. So when we are living in these first three, we are keeping where our energy is concentrated in these first three chakras, we're really living in what can be called fear. That fear and the belief that we have to be doing things. We have to always be trying. We have to always be watching and working in order to survive. Not the happiest way to be. Not the happiest way to be. Oh, let's not worry about that right now. So Tantra, on a general level, has many branches. They include yoga, meditation, metaphysics, an understanding of quantum physics, the quantum world, of the ability to be a magician, if you will, to alchemize, and also, of course, sexuality and relationship. So we have many, many branches of Tantra. The common belief these days is that Tantra is all about sexuality. And even that Tantra is all about random, wild, orgiastic sexuality. Well, nothing could be further than the truth. Nothing could be further than the truth, as you will see in our practice and as I continue. So that's a general overview of Tantra. Skydancing Tantra is a form of teachings, a cadre of teachings that fall under the category not of ancient Tantra, but of what we call Neo-Tantra. And it is the Skydancing Tantra Institute, where I have received the majority of my training, although I've trained elsewhere as well. You'll learn about it. The Skydancing Tantra Institute, because it falls in the realm of Neo-Tantra, and it does focus on sexuality and relationship, but not in the way that others may think when they start to feel that Tantra is bad, pornographic, or anything that might be considered shameful or guilty. It was founded about 30 years ago by a French woman who was a psychologist at the Sorbonne. She caught a glimpse in her yoga practice of a transcendent way of being while making love. And as she inquired more about it, she came to learn that it was not uncommon, that she was not the only one, and that it could be found in the world of Tantra. And so she traveled to India, where she was part of a group of people exploring Tantra. And she was working in a space and a place under a very well-known teacher of Tantra at that time. And this individual saw her and saw her light and told her that it was her life's purpose to simplify Tantra, to learn about it, and then to take what she had learned and bring it to all the people outside of India, Tibet, China, Japan, and other places in the world where it existed. Her name is Margot Anand, and her most famous book is called The Art of Sexual Ecstasy for Western Lovers. And it's a book that I recommend to almost everyone who comes to work with me, either as an individual or as a couple. And even as I do that, I'm often wanting to replace the word, the art of sexual ecstasy, with just the art of life ecstasy. And Margot would agree. But that was a great thing to do back 30 years ago. So there are thousands and thousands of people that have been the recipients and benefited from the practices that are included in Skydancing Tantra, which is the world of Tantra that I share with people and the practices that I share with people. And one of those practices we're going to engage in this evening. Close on, so no worry. Skydancing Tantra and all Tantra has, all Tantra that relates to sexuality and relationships operates on 3 levels. The first level is healing. This is where we, through meditation and yoga, become closer, become more aware, befriend, and acknowledge not only our sexuality, but the identity that lives within our body. The body that we often don't listen to, if, it might not apply to you guys, if we've been conditioned to believe that we run our lives by our thinking, by what goes on in our head. And so what many will tell us, and you can find verified, is that that's our consciousness, about 5% of your energy and your activity. 95% is subconscious, which is your body, is what is directing your life. And so getting to know what's going on in your body, in your heart, and in your gut by developing slowly, 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 more and more self-awareness and tuning in to this area has the potential to lead us to be making good choices in honor of who we really are. And when that happens, anything that is not us, that is not good for us, that keeps us from being whole, will slowly leave our life and be replaced by those things that support us in our true identity, in living out our soul's purpose. You're agreeing? You had that experience?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got many experience. I really love to go out to see more. I just don't put the effort into it more. But sometimes it's hard to keep always balance and focus and always discipline and stuff. I've been doing like this, but
So
very
you're here, so let's start.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just need more discipline. Yes, I'm traveling to different places and then meeting people, and then some places that were super powerful and the energy was amazing, and I met so many people there. And it's learning so much in life. It's amazing about following your heart.
Following your heart.
Yeah, being always on the place you want to be.
I think you got it. How about you? What comes up for you to share at this time? I know you are, you're shy.
So I'll turn this up. So there you go. You can express yourself. Feel free. And if you don't have a microphone, they won't listen to you. They won't hear you. So don't worry. That's what matters.
Well, yeah, the question. First of all, we would like to know what brings you here today, your name, and I understand that you are a healer yourself.
Okay, my name is Anna. I took pranic healing, but only the basic one, so I don't practice nothing. And but I heard about Tantra a long time ago, and I was curious about it. So
Absolutely, pranic healing is part of the full of the curriculum of full tantra when we're encompassing all of its branches. Absolutely, absolutely, and so in your pranic healing studies, did you acquaint yourself with the chakras?
yeah,
Just a little bit. Okay.
4 years,
Is it how many years ago?
like 3 years ago, and then never practiced.
Okay.
I need more discipline.
Oh, we all need more discipline. The problem, something that's true about attempting to discipline ourselves
Yeah.
and be consistent that I've heard, and let's see what you think about it, is when we think of it as discipline and we have to be regimented, it feels a lot like work, doesn't it? It feels a lot like work. But when we start to think of it as play, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And when I say this, it's, studies prove people who think they're working at something, they don't learn even half as much as people who just play.
Right.
Just play. So maybe playing is, putting a mark on the wall every morning that you do even a smidgen of a practice, and then looking at that wall and saying, when I get to 21 tick marks, I'm going to reward myself in whatever way that is. But yeah, just knowing that, lightening up and feeling fine and forgiving yourself if you skip a day. Of course, if you skip a day and you're working for 21, you got to start all over again. But it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but also like to have a balance, right? For example, I have a lot of discipline. And I can become so rigid with myself that my body resents that. So I'm going like the other, yeah, exactly, the other way. So I'm starting like I stopped doing CrossFit because I was like, like this, and I would do fasting every day and now I'm like, because I was so up there in the mind, in the sky, in the 5D, and I'm here. So I said, I'm not gonna be here for who knows how long. I want to enjoy this.
Absolutely.
So I began eating what I like, something that I had stopped for so long, and like instead of so much feelings, I'm organizing this and I enjoy this way better than being like, facing illnesses. This is so much healing for me and for like the whole humanity, because it's like, new information, but in terms of enjoying and
Right.
developing our soul, our physical bodies and so on. Sorry.
No, I mean, this is why I love to hear this kind of sharing. So what we're saying is we're following our bliss, and we're really looking in tantric practices, first dedicated to self-healing, is to create bliss bodies. And we're going to take a shot at that tonight. Yeah. And you may just very well feel that happens.
Like I have been experienced before, like with drugs and stuff like that, and there was one drug that was
Oh, drugs?
yeah incredible, like by yourself, and I could be so clear, everything, but
Which drug was that?
was a speed, like pills, it's in
Uh-huh.
but if I can't do this on drugs, why I can't do it like
Exactly.
sober?
You can most certainly do it sober.
Exactly. But that's the why I want to do these things, because I want to reach that potential that I know is inside of me, but it's brain fog and all that. So
Well, I'm going to give you some tools today
I would love that.
that you'll be able to use to do that. So,
Again, but like we began with the meditations on Tuesday, like 6 years ago, and there we were only like 2 or 3 people like that. And last Tuesday we were like over 30 people, you know? So it's like there's like a vortex that's been anchored, and then we just have to announce it when people come. You're the pioneers, the first one. And when you open it for something like that, that's very new for us still. It's just coming. It's very famous in Eastern, but like we're getting there. So congratulations to you being our teacher.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
And so we use this practice, we use these practices for healing initially. And then on a second level, if we've healed, we've tuned up our instrument. An analogy we like to use is that our bodies are musical instruments. This is a flute, of course. It has 7 notes like all musical instruments. And of course, we know 7 chakras. Absolutely. So we're going to take a look at our chakras. So let me just unroll this. Let's see if I'm in front of the camera. So yes, 7 chakras, 7 musical notes. And what we learn as a base practice is how to master the flow of energy through these chakras in order to make beautiful music and to make a lot of sound. And the sound is a very important part of tantric practice. So like any musical instrument, if first you learn it and you practice solo, your scales, if you will, once you become adept, you may or may not choose to play with a partner and make beautiful music together. Okay. So that's what's possible. At the third level, and this is when we've done enough healing. If our partnership includes sexual engagement, the practices of Tantra, which has helped integrate our genitals with our heart with our genitals, and our genitals with our heart over and over again, are going to allow for a harmony and an expansion of orgasm that those who don't know this will never, ever experience. Now, the word orgasm, when we say it, is very often understood as friction, sex, and ejaculating. Kind of a quick friction situation where what's called orgasm in that paradigm lasts maybe 3 seconds for a man, maybe 9 for a woman, and where it may be called, it may be known as coming, especially for a man. We women call it going, and maybe men call it going as well, because the refractory period very often leads the man to fall asleep. Okay. Well, women operate from their hearts, and a short, quick interlude is not going to allow a woman's heart to open. When her heart doesn't open, her genitals don't open. And so by learning to master the flow of this energy and have what we call heart genital integration, we are able then to create between man and woman a great deal more harmony, and to create an expanded orgasm that unites earth and heaven. Does that sound like what you always wanted in a relationship? Heaven and earth together, with, you know, hearts beating together, minds beating together, with a great deal of sexual satisfaction. And this is God's plan. And you're going to see a little bit later, as we engage in our practice, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about our physical body and about a very special muscle that you may be familiar with, known as the psoas muscle. Have you heard of it? Yeah, the psoas muscle is right here. And so it's right here. It's right here by our genitals, right? This muscle, named psoas, is the Western medical term for it. In the world of Tantra, the psoas muscle is known as the muscle of the soul, the muscle of the soul. You see, so our bodies in this paradigm, this is in the world of Tantra, our sexuality and our spirituality, our sex and our soul are already united. But very often, because of social conditioning, we become separate from that feeling, from that knowing. And it is these practices, the yoga, the meditation, the study of metaphysics, that help us to understand what's truly possible for us. And well, you might ask us, why aren't we taught this? Why do you think we might not have been taught this early on in our life? Because we would be too powerful for whatever forces, for forces that would prefer we not be powerful. And we can call them the 1%, you can call it Satan, you can call it whatever you want, but it's an opposing force to life. It's evil. It's an evil force. If you think about the word evil for just 1 second and spell it backwards, what word is it? Spelled backwards? Live. Live. Evil.
Evil.
Evil. E-V-I-L, spelled backwards, is L-I-V-E. And so what we're doing here with Tantra is we're inviting you to expand, to become more alive. And it's often said that life without Tantra, black and white. Life with Tantra, technicolor. So this again is not only where we experience first self-healing, secondly, should we choose to partnership in an expanded way, and then ultimately, when this energy has strengthened itself, has been nourished so that it flows freely from our base chakra to our heart chakra, giving us all of this healing, it will automatically come into your throat. And when that happens, you begin, because you begin to speak your truth. You come to know your truth, and you begin to speak your truth. And your truth, when spoken, reinforces and activates the third eye, which is again associated with your pineal gland. All of these, it's a lot of information to share just in a short time, which of the glands each of the chakra are related to. But I think you can appreciate that encouraging and nourishing the free flow of energy through our entire bodies, through all of our glands, could be a good thing. And last but not least, when the flow has become strong enough and is flowing strong, and for some people it happens right away because we're born different levels, then it can activate our crown chakra, and we will find ourselves in a place of wisdom and enlightenment. So that's not to say that you leave sexual engagement behind. right. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of information. You're welcome. So I'm going to make sure I covered all the points. What is who I am? Just a little bit about me. What is Tantra as with its multiple branches? What is Sky Dancing Tantra? The work of Margot Anand, which encapsulates truly, although it's called Neo Tantra, it stems from ancient Tantra. Margot traveled all over the world. She received downloaded a great deal of information from Buddha Padmahansa and his consort, who were alive in the 8th century. Yes,
It's the same?
yes. Say Buddha Padmasambhava.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And well, there's often a distinction made between real Tantra, ancient Tantra, and Neo Tantra. Now, Margot, because she's alive today, her work falls in the category of Neo Tantra. That being said, its roots are ancient. Buddha Padmahansa and Yeshe Soigel lived in the 8th century, and they practiced Tantra. I understand they were rulers of a small kingdom, and they made available to all of their people these very same practices, maybe not exactly, but the energy flow from the base chakra to the crown chakra, to expanding our auras so that we can rise and be protected. Yeshe Soigel, Buddha Padmahansa's consort. Padmahansa.
Okay.
That's the name of a male.
Okay.
Like the master who created all this back in the 8th century, you said?
Yes, he was a spiritually evolved individual alive in the 8th century in Tibet.
About the Buddha guy or
I'm not talking about,
the Buddha master?
Well, the Buddha is like a state of mind, a Buddhist state of mind. There wasn't just one. People know just one.
Yeah,
but there
exactly.
were many, right?
and you can be a Buddha too.
You can reach a Buddhist. Like a Christ consciousness, many
Yeah.
people develop Christ consciousness.
Christ consciousness is absolutely a key word. And there are so many authors. I study not only Sky Dancing Tantra, but many others. And I've recently come across a series of books by a man named Andrew Wowen, Owen, I think is his name, and that could be wrong. And it's all about Christ consciousness. It's all about drawing the analogy, drawing the comparison, and showing the sameness between what we'll call Indian Tibetan-based Tantra and the Christian belief of the Holy Spirit, the fire, the flame that rises, and the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. So it's a very deep book. It's a very academic book. And this time I'm not in a place to describe it. But if you're interested in this, Christ consciousness is the same consciousness here that we're talking about when we reach enlightenment. Enlightenment, I can safely say this, enlightenment and Christ consciousness are the same. I feel secure and safe to say that.
If you don't, you get stuck to this critic consciousness instead of Christ critic. No, it's about it sounds better in Spanish.
Christ, about Jesus Christ or something like that. I know.
Yeah, but it's the same like with the Buddha,
Yeah.
It's like it's just a level of consciousness represented by this great master. It's like in Spanish we said conciencia crística, but if you don't get there, you get stuck in conciencia crítica, which is it's a bad joke. It doesn't translate.
Yeah,
It's lost
exactly.
in translation, but yeah, it's like you can be in the middle anyway.
Yes, you can be in the middle. And in the world of Tantra, those stages, those places, lower, middle, and higher, are represented, by the energy flow of the chakras, how strong you can get this. And I'll be available if you have any questions after this.
Okay.
Either, they come up later or certainly now, and to give you reference material if you're interested. Okay. So what I would like to do now is to engage you in a practice that is designed to give you the tools to, with practice, that's why we call it a practice, to be able to master, to first nourish and encourage the aliveness of the energy in your base chakra area, bring it up to your heart, to your throat, and ultimately to your third eye, to your third eye and your crown chakra. Yes, and this is a great time to take a bathroom break, get up, stretch your arms and legs, have a drink of water.
Fasting right now. It's my 4th day and I'm almost going to my 5th day. Yeah.
Are you eating nothing or doing intermittent fasting?
Just drinking water.
Oh, just drinking water. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I mean, not so energetic right now. My head's hurting a little bit, you know.
Oh,
And
are you? But you're drinking water.
I'm drinking water, but not that much. Just a little bit.
Really? Is that part of the fast?
No, it's just I drink when I want to drink. You know, I just don't want to drink that. So fine. You know,
Okay.
I forced myself to drink a glass of water because I wouldn't have drink, and then
Too yellow, so that was the sign.
So I was like, okay, you should drink. You know? But it's interesting when you're talking about the sacred chakra for the water. So I don't know if that has a link because the water helps for energy or something like
Absolutely. So we recommend that you drink lots and lots of water.
that. Lots of what?
Water,
Water.
because these practices are energy in the same way that electricity is energy. And you need a lot of, and a lot of water in your system is going to help this energy flow more freely. And it's not easy, is it? To drink all this water.
It's hard to drink water for all the time. Like, I'm not really drinking that much. I like sugar so much.
Well, I guess you know then
Yes.
what to do.
What? Like drink juice?
Less sugar and more water.
Yeah, right. Sugar is easy to drink.
Oh, more. So you said you think green juice would work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to drink natural. I drink natural juice all the time, like coconut or orange juice or whatever fruit they have in the market. I always ask azúcar, so straight real natural juice.
Well, little by little. Don't beat yourself up.
I know, right? Yeah, but I can feel it. Like I had been cure, like very intense cure for me, and then it was like 1 month, cacao, raw, like seaweeds and spirulina and garlic and other stuff that I forgot. And I was taking all this, with the oil, some oil and stuff like that for 1 month and 3 days in the dark meditation, and then go to Mazunte, Oaxaca, and then that in me awakening, I was scared. I never awakened because I was scared. I stopped it. It was electricity in all my body, and I was like, "What's that?" And I tried to, but I didn't know. People would say, "Yeah, it's okay. It's the Kundalini that's going up." And when I was doing the yoga, and when I was singing one time too, I was like, all my body was shaking. I was like, in meditation one time too, and yeah, so I really enjoyed that. And then when I went back to eating like here in Playa, and I was arriving and connecting with nobody, I was like, oh, it's not my type of stuff. And I was bored after 3 days, so bored. So I was like, well, let's get back into it. And then I started to drink and stuff like that. And I could feel it inside myself, like crazy, like, that's not, I had so much.
Okay. Well, the good work you did is cumulative. It's still there for you to build on.
Yeah, I'm getting back into it right now. I'm right on it right now. So.
Now, how about you in your pranic work? Were you practitioner as well as a receiver?
I was more like receiver. When I wanted to do it, I didn't have enough time at my job. So I sent my mom because she used to like all
Uh-huh.
alternative healing. But she didn't like it a lot. And then when I started, but she did all the levels.
Your mom did the lessons because you were too busy at your job.
And then I went.
But did she come home and tell you about them?
Sorry?
Did she come home and be your teacher? Teach you what she
No.
learned?
No, there's a, like, you can only be a healer if you get it from an instructor. It's very like that because like information can be distorted, and since there's such a power in it, you can heal someone, but you can kill someone by doing like, for example, if you have something in your throat, I can heal you, I can clean it, but I can also close it and heal it. You know, like, of course, that would be like magic, but
That's
I
right.
think we work from the light to the light. But anyway, it's such a powerful technique that it can not only be taught by somebody, you know, responsible and instructed. There's a whole institute for inner studies in the Philippines, and you get a certificate for like, it's a lot of protocols. For every healing, I have to follow a protocol.
Absolutely.
So
In the Philippines, it's interesting. I felt there I couldn't connect with those people spiritual. It's really rare for me. Who doesn't know nothing about no chakra, nothing. It's very rare.
in the Philippines, really?
For me, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't check on internet, but just going through my.
Right.
I
It's
never
like,
find.
yeah.
I was like, nobody knows about that. Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for you to kind of come a little closer, come on back to this sort of learning. What is it that's happened to you that's made it possible for you to come back onto the path?
I think I need just to decide it, structure, organize, and find the time to do it.
Mhm.
I used to do the twin heart meditation.
The green heart,
No, the twin heart meditation.
twin hearts meditation.
I ran the research, but then I stopped doing it. But I like that meditation because I can feel how the chakras
Oh, good.
activate and how they all like energy and love to the world. So I need to.
All right, so you're here this evening. So you mentioned the word protocol,
Yeah.
and this practice that I'm going to share with you has a protocol. It's an ancient protocol. This version that I'm sharing with you is actually the American Indian version. So it's the one that you can find in text on my meetup group, the Riviera Maya Journeys to Bliss group. So you can just click on that and you can see this practice. You can maybe find a friend to guide you through it step by step, following the protocol, or you can record it for yourself so that you have it right there on your phone.
What is the name of the work you said?
It's called Riviera Maya Journeys to Tantric Bliss, and it's on Meetup.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can send you the link. I can send all of you the link if it's okay with you. I can send it to you and you can send it to them, or however, whatever's going to work. And if it works for you, you can shoot this QR code, and then you'll go to my major website. Then you'll see group gatherings in Playa, and you'll look around and you'll find it, or you'll call me, but you can find it. So this practice can be done standing, lying down, or sitting. So we're going to do it sitting. So the first thing we're going to do is put our feet flat on the floor. Are we all ready, by the way? Let's all just move just a little bit closer. Take a nice deep in breath. All
I would love to, please. Yes. How do you know?
it's very important to be warm and relaxed.
Really?
Absolutely.
I think because I have an headache, it's getting cold.
And you're Canadian?
Yes, I am.
don't
I know
Canadian.
people that, yeah, but I don't like the cold. I never. Thank you. Thank
This
you
one,
so much. Yes.
good, Judy?
Oh, I'm good. That's right. Good. I'm so happy that you're going to be warm because it will help you to be more relaxed. All right. So wiggle around in your chair. Find out what's the most comfortable position for you. Take your time. Now close your eyes, please. Just relax your shoulders, maybe shake them out a little bit. Shake out your head, neck. The reason that we ask that your eyes be closed is because we know, and you may know as well, that 80% of the input that we get from the outside world, the stimuli, comes through our eyes. And so when we close our eyes, we create a field that allows us to sink more easily into the sensations of our body. So as you sit there, just breathing normally, no particular effort, I'm going to share with you a description of the 3 major and then 2 supporting elements of this practice. 3 majors are breath, movement, and sound. And the 2 supporting elements are imagination and visualization. You will find that these apply to all tantric yoga practices and to many meditations as well. Nothing applies to all. So the first one is conscious breathing. The second is the pelvic tilt. The third is the PC pump. And of course, imagination and visualization will then support these mechanical movements. Conscious breathing consists of taking a nice, comfortably deep inhale through the nostrils. It's the count of 3. Holding in a very relaxed way for the count of 6. And then exhaling through the mouth while making an audible sound to the count of 9. So let's try that together. Inhale. Hold. And exhale with your mouth open. Allowing an audible sound to emerge. So inhaling, inhaling. 1, 2, 3, yes. Holding for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then exhaling. Now we use these counts to create with certainty a consistency in the breath that we're using, so that our body becomes accustomed to it, and ultimately we'll be able to repeat it without our thinking about it or hearing someone guide us. That being said, it isn't rigid. Your count to 3 will be different than your neighbor's count to 3. Your count to 6 will be different as well, and of course your count of 9. So let's try it a few more times with my guidance, and then for a couple of minutes that will begin at the sound of the gong on your own. Just conscious breathing is all we're about right now. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Making a sound. Okay. So go ahead now and try it on your own. Let me hear those sounds. There's no sound too loud for this space. All right, let's take a little break. Open our eyes. Look around, let me see you. Open your eyes. Okay, come on. Sound is really important. So I'm going to ask you to engage in a little fun practice with me. So taking a nice deep breath, raise your hands all the way up and say yes.
Yes.
Okay, and now I invite you to say that just a little louder. Yes.
Yes.
Louder. Yes. Louder. Yes. And 3 more, each one louder. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
But they are used to me, so don't worry.
Okay. So now your throat is warmed up and you know that you can make sounds. Maybe not that loud all the time, but heck. All right. All right, so back to our conscious breathing. Just pick it up on your own. Your body knows the way. Inhaling. Hold. And exhale through the mouth, making a sound. Oh, much better. Much better now. Absolutely. So I'd like to share with you that the majority of humans live on what's really a beggar's ration of air, filling only 1/7 of their lungs with the oxygen that it has the potential to hold. So as you inhale, see if you can inhale just a little bit more air. Hold and exhale. Whoa. All right. I think you've got it. Now on to, we're going to add in the pelvic tilt. And this is where you would like to have your feet flat on the floor. Maybe your hands on your knees, your shoulders relaxed. And as you inhale, invite you to tilt your pelvic bone forward, your pubic bone. Just a slight tilt. Inhale, tilt and hold. Holding the pubic bone up, holding the breath. And now exhaling, making a sound and relaxing the pelvis all the way back. You feel just a little curve in your back. So now we're combining our conscious breath with the pelvic tilt. Hold. And relax. And when we are engaging ourselves in the pelvic tilt, we are relaxing and nourishing that very important psoas muscle, which so often gets tight and tense and stiff. So sitting, our time scrolling, driving if we're doing that. And sometimes just from repressing and suppressing our sexual urges. So as you continue to inhale, raising your pubic bone just a little bit, holding, exhaling while you make a sound, and relaxing. Oh, very good. You are getting it. Couple more times, just these two. Whoa. Now on our next inhale, while we raise our pubic bone, we're also going to squeeze our PC muscle. This is the muscle that we use to stop and start the flow of urine. And it's difficult to isolate it on your first chart, so what you'll be squeezing is maybe that whole area of the intrinsic muscles. So inhaling, lifting, contracting, squeezing, holding, and then relaxing. On the exhale. So here we have it, our three movements, our conscious breath, our pelvic tilt, our PC pump, where we're contracting and then relaxing the pubococcygeus muscle. And that word pubococcygeus can be hard to learn and to say, and it's heard in tantric circles all over the world. So we're continuing with our inhale, our raising, our contracting, our hold, and our relaxing. Beautiful. Now, as you're doing this, you are bringing fresh oxygen and increased fluid flow into your body. That's your lymph fluid, the blood that circulates, and all of it is serving to nourish and to relax the area of your first chakra and your second chakra and the chakra above it. You're enlivening these areas which are so often clamped down, shut down, repressed, perhaps even shamed and guilted. And you're saying to them, I'm aware of you. I'm engaging with you. I'm playing with you. And I'm bringing you nourishment. Just keep at this. Allowing a sense of your mastery of the conscious breath and its count, the sounds that are emerging, the lifting of the pubic bone, the contraction of the PC muscle, and then after the hold, the exhale and relaxation. and letting your jaw relax. Maybe allow a smile to take its place on your face as you acknowledge and appreciate yourself for engaging in this practice. For endeavoring to awaken and enliven the creative life force energy, the energy that lives in our sexuality, that sexuality, the sexual engagement, which in fact brought us here on this earth. We're going to take a second pass at this. So for this first one, now that we have some grasp of the first three movements, we're going to bring in imagination and visualization. So imagine as you inhale, raise and contract, that your little area of your lower chakras, that scarlet red area, is starting to fire up. It's starting to heat up. That the energy there is increasing in intensity. That the colors there are becoming more and more brilliant. And as the first chakra lights up and flames up, imagine the heat, color, and energy rising into the second chakra area, Svadhisthana. And I use just its name because it's the one name that I hope you'll carry away with you from this evening's practice. Svadhisthana is our sexual and creative chakra. Its color is orange. And so we are now blending the scarlet fire and flame and energy of our first chakra with the tangerine, sunrise, and sunset orange of our second chakra. We're beginning to feel this energy just filling our pelvic bowl from the base of our genitals, from the pubic bone, side to side, from one hip bone to the other, from the back of our spine, and from its base, the sacrum, to the front of our belly. This entire pelvic bowl, and you can use your hands even to get a sense of it, is now filling, if you will, with beautiful scarlet and tangerine and golden energy and warmth. And you may be beginning to feel turned on. So let's go with this without any guidance from me. Allowing once again your conscious breath, your tilt, your contraction, and the exhalation, the sound, and the relaxation of both your pelvis and your PC muscle to take place. The longer we spend engaging in and synchronizing these three motions and our imagination and visualization, the higher and more euphoric we're going to become. And now that the energy in the first three chakra area has been built up and it's filled with scarlet, tangerine, and golden light and energy, let's use our imagination or visualization to allow that energy to flow up past the navel into our lower torso, from rib cage to rib cage and all the way up to our hearts. on the inhale. And then after the hold, on the exhale, allowing our imagination to see it flowing all the way back down and then up again, bringing all of that warmth, energy, and vitality into the heart chakra and back down again, circulating it in an elliptical fashion. You may find that you can, using your hands to guide the flow of energy without touching your body, just the flow of energy moving in an elliptical fashion with your hands guiding it can be helpful. And something that I would like to mention and bring your awareness to is that this energy, known as the Kundalini energy in the world of Tantra, is said to live coiled safely and securely within our sacrum. That is the wing-shaped bone at the very base of our spines. So if you can, in your imagination, see if you can visualize it there. So that the scarlet and the tangerine and the orange are reaching into that space where in fact it lies dormant and gaining in intensity. Coming up and up, again to the heart and then back down. Ah. Really relaxing. Enjoying this. Now just allowing your left hand to rest ever so gently on the area of your pubic bone, because we're seated. Your left hand, allowing your right hand to come to your heart. And as you inhale, tilt, squeeze, hold, and then exhale from the heart to the genitals. See if you can't feel that energy. The energy that you generated, that you've nourished, that you've enlivened as it circulates from the base chakra to the heart chakra, and from the heart chakra to the base chakra. It's at this time in this practice, often when we've engaged in this first phase a little bit longer, that a great deal of emotion starts to emerge. It can be crying, it can be anger. Very often it's laughter. And when this is happening, and even before, as many as 1,300, maybe even 1,400 healing molecules that lay quiescent in our heart are released. And it is these healing molecules that live in our bodies all the time. When released, they can heal emotional, physical, disease, any ailment that you might have had. So we have it all within us. This meditation is said by many to be as useful as many of the medications that one might consider using. And now let's bring the energy one last time up into the heart, and the hand that was on the genitals to the heart, the hand that was on the heart up to our throat. Sensing the energy now Using our imagination, we've got very strong energy from the base 3 chakras up through our lower torso, up into our heart, and visualize that energy coming now from the heart, up into the throat, and back down to the heart. And again, maybe using that hand that's on your throat to help that energy come up from the heart and back down again. And it's at this point, the potential lies for the sounds we've been making to become varied and different as our body begins to speak. And to let go of some of the blockages that are standing in the way of the free flow of what we call in the world of Tantra orgasmic energy. So it is the energy from our creative base chakra, the sexual chakra, that we're now circulating from the heart to the throat, back to the heart, to the throat again. And now, with our left hand still in our heart, imagine that energy coming from the throat to the third eye, space right between your eyebrows, back down again. Bring it all the way up. If you're not feeling the power that you think might be there for you, don't be afraid to, on the inhale, bring more energy up from that base chakra, up through the heart, into the throat, up into the third eye, back down again to the throat. And now from the throat up to the crown of your head, allowing both hands to help you visualize the energy now shooting all the way up from your base chakra, through your heart, to your throat, up the crown of your head, and out into the cosmos. It's at this point that many can kick into a full body orgasm, where the autonomic nervous system kicks into automatic, and the energy flows not only into the universe, but expands and falls around them, expanding their aura, expanding the energy that we all have that encompasses our body, and that so often has little holes and dents in it. Now, with this purified energy coming up and coming out and shooting around the top of her head, we're able to heal some of those penetrations, those jagged pieces of our auric field. And so just to give us some practice, on your next inhale, hold, lifting, contraction, and then exhale. On that exhale, make the loudest sound you can and let your whole body shake. In fact, just make it shake. Oh, and just let your body shake. Okay. So in just a minute, just stop everything that you've been doing. Relax. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the group.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. So you're welcome. So how is our time?
It's 7:30.
It's 7:30. All right. Well, I now want to be respectful of your time because we're scheduled to go from 6 to 7:30. So what we've done tonight is to experience the elements of the sovereign energy orgasm practice. Give ourselves a body memory of them. What we haven't done is to spend a sufficient amount of time in the steps to bring our bodies to that place where a full body orgasm can kick in. That's what we
So
do.
without having any sexual intercourse, you can have an orgasm just from breathing in, exhaling, and bringing the
Exactly.
Kundalini up to the.
Exactly. And this is where again we make the distinction between orgasm, ejaculation for men, and perhaps the ejaculation of Amrita for women. This orgasm is an inward flow that we're encouraging of the energy. So we're not letting the energy go out. When we are clenching our PC muscle, we are holding that energy that we've built up in. And as we're breathing and visualizing, we're bringing it up through our bodies, up, if you will, through the chakra system.
So Judith, can it be done when we have our period? Not recommended, is it? Or like,
Well, I think this really depends on your musculature. Of course, it can be.
no, because I heard that it's not that the blood is dirty, but the sexual chakra might be like not a little bit contaminated during those days.
Contaminated.
Grayish energy, yeah, which is not because it's producing. It's some cells are dying, so because of that.
Right. There's a lot going on. The body is doing quite a big job to shed. And I would say that I would have to do some research to find out.
Well, I heard that.
Yes, we hear different things. So I can't really speak to that without looking further into it. I would say that with all of these practices that we want to be listening to our body and letting it tell us what's good and true and right for us at any one time. And that same thing might apply to that time when one has one's period, because each of us females are different in that respect. So again, it's that listening. I wonder if you have any questions about orgasm versus ejaculation, any of you?
I think it's a great connection with somebody else too, right? With yourself first, and then with somebody else.
Absolutely. It's the ability to bring the energy up to contain the energy, to bring it up from the creative life force center, our genitals, into our hearts. Connecting first with your hearts for healing, getting the flow together. There's a lot more that I could share with you. We're at the end of our time today. And that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions you have via messaging or by contacting Cece and asking her, and then I'm not sure how the flow goes for people who are in your group.
It's hard to synchronize everything together.
Sure it is. It's hard just in the beginning. And
Imagination,
yeah, conscious breathing, pelvic tilting, PC pumping, knowing the colors of the chakras, where they are in the body.
Like you have to switch and then
Learning how to drive.
Yeah, it's just like riding a bicycle. It gets easier as you go along. So again, that's why we call it a practice, right?
I have a question. Have you ever done some medicinal and stuff like that? Medicinal?
I don't.
No, never?
Never, because I'm not that kind of girl.
Oh, wow. I think everything's going to be rich natural here.
Yeah, I mean, again, hearkening back to my childhood, and this is why this is a natural for me. I says, like, no, I'm high on life, you know?
Yeah.
And I knew, that the word enthusiasm means to be enthused with the Holy Spirit. This is when I'm operating in the context of Catholicism, which is how I was raised, which in no way in its true form is opposed to tantric practice, Kundalini energy, Christ consciousness that lives outside of organized religion in many cases, not all, but I think it's a little bit deeper of a topic. Do you have another question?
I'm sorry?
You're kind of
Another question?
you have something else coming up?
Yeah, I mean, what's the book you the name? You were like talking about the woman.
Margot Anand.
The name of the book is Margot.
Margot, Margot.
Okay.
Anand. Anand. Anand in Sanskrit means bliss.
Morgot.
Margot
Okay.
Anand, Anand. It's a Sanskrit for bliss.
Sanskrit. Yes.
Yes, it is. Now that isn't her real name. That wasn't her given name. Her given name was Margot Neslednikov, but she was given the name Margot Anand by that person who influenced her to become a teacher. And that is what she's leading us to, is the bliss that's intrinsic in our bodies. And
Still a little bit expanded.
Mhm. All right. So again, we're close to the end of our time. And I want to thank you both for coming.
One more question.
Of course.
Where do you buy this this flute?
Oh, gosh. I'm not sure where you buy it here in Mexico.
Yeah, I would
I
like
did. Yes, I didn't buy it. I saw a child with a flute
Really?
on the street today that was similar to this.
I will manifest one. I will, because I want that for a long time, and like, and I never find one, and
Mhm.
I'm looking for one, so I'm gonna get one. Maybe start to play and then learn, and maybe play in the street, make some money and get out of
Mhm.
my comfort zone.
All right. Well, I didn't buy this in Playa, so I can't tell you where to get it in
I
Playa.
don't see in Mexico. I haven't found yet. I'm like, yeah.
Well, there's always Amazon.
Yeah, I will find one special. I'll manifest it now. I will start to manifest one. Gonna come.
Do you have any questions? No? All right. So just in closing, let me ask you, if you have just one word to describe your experience this evening, what would that word be? Any word that comes to mind. Don't try too hard.
Well, please,
Awesome. Thank you.
please.
Bliss. Oh, yeah, just
First word.
creative. Yes. What's more creative? That's how we got here, right? We're creative. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, Judith,
You're
for
welcome.
opening up this space, for your, sharing your knowledge and your time and all the beauty you share.
It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
And also your website, too, please.
Journeys to Bliss.
Journey to Bliss.
Journeys with an S.
Journey like G-O-R.
Journeys to